Are we live? It says we're live. Hey, if we are live, let me know. Drop me a comment. Let me know when you guys get in here. If you don't mind, hit that thumbs up, man. Let's get some activity going. Start dropping y'all's questions in. And let's see how many people we can get in this little chat room we got going on tonight talking about some bass fishing. Sorry about being a little bit late tonight, guys. I apologize. We are going to go over our game plan for tomorrow and the weekend. And we're going to talk about our top bait choices and kind of my overall game plan going forward, man. You talk about a lot of changes real early in the year this year. There's been a crazy stretch here that we've just gone through as far as just not being that normal for this time of year. We don't normally get a lot of rain like that at the end of August, early September, the way we have lately. It's really done a number to the water. It's changed the water temps drastically. I'm going to go ahead and call turnover over. I'm not seeing thermocline anywhere on the lake. I'm not seeing any lingering sign of turnover. I think between the early temperature drop and all the rain that we've got, I think it's knocked all that stuff out and it's done. I believe it is. I could be proven wrong. It might flip here in a week again and monkey me all up. But I think we're completely done with turnovers. So that's a good sign. I mean, that's a good thing to have that knocked out this early. I mean, that's we could have, hopefully these fish will go on and get into this transition and go ahead and start feeding like a little bit of fall fish, which we are seeing signs of. We're going to talk about that tonight. If we can get into an early fall pattern and have a prolonged fall period, ain't nothing wrong with that. I love fishing in the fall, man. Those fish get up there and get chasing that bait around. It's a good time in the fall. So you're going to see a lot of that in our bait choices tonight. We're going to talk about it a little bit. So let me say some hellos to everybody that's joining us early like this, and we'll get into it. We got Bustin' Outdoors in the house, Domingo Cole, Jeff Bonner, ZW's in the house, Sean Andre, OMG, Texas 420, what's up, baby? Case and Gaby, Ben Show, the Bass Fishing Mafia, Tom G, Big John, John Dendy, Cody Mays, JD Adnett. What's up to all you guys, man? Thank y'all for joining us. I know we'll have some more coming. There's old Todd Fleischer in the house. Awesome, man. Hey, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. So, yeah, it's been crazy. The water's like, listen, I didn't get on the lake yesterday or today. It's been raining so much, but the water temp Tuesday, God, it blew, wind blew like crazy Tuesday. The water temp got up to, it was around, like, it was pretty hot Monday and Tuesday. Water temp was like 85, 86 was about the highest I saw. Now, with these cloudy days and all this cool water, rain water coming in, it's cold rain, you know, it's not a warm rain at all, and all the cloud cover and everything we've had, I got to imagine those water temps have got to be down around pretty close to 80. And now we've got a cold front coming this next week. It's going to knock it down even more. And what I'm already seeing that's crazy is there is just so much bait fish going to the bank, up on the bank, that's what tells me the turnover has happened. Or it's one of the things that tells me the turnovers happen, right? Like, there's just, if you get in the right areas, there is piles, unbelievable piles of bait fish right up on the bank, like real shallow. And right now what I'm doing is I'm just looking, I'm covering water, looking for those piles of bait fish and then trying to capitalize on those areas when I find them. A lot of transitioning stuff, we're doing dock fishing quite a bit. We're fishing kind of random stretches of bank, some of it on the main lake. If I see bait fish and there's any type of a transition type structure, you know, I try to concentrate and look on these transition areas we've been talking about the last week or two. But sometimes they're in random areas. I'm really focusing on bait. That being said, the baits that I'm going to throw are going to equate to that. So let's start talking about it. Maybe the best bait right now is going to be this little swim bait. This is a little Divine swim bait from 6 cents. I'm throwing it on a 3/0 owner flashy swimmer. This is the smallest size they make, a 3.3. Boy, look at the teeth marks on that sucker. Can y'all see that? Look at, I don't know if y'all, it doesn't ever show up very good on the camera, but there's a lot of teeth marks on that bait right there. The 3.3 inch size, the smallest size they make in Divine swim bait. That's Clearwater Rose. Any white ice, pearl, like any of those white shag colors will work right now. But the small profile is key. Most of this bait fish, this early bait fish that's pulled in and moved in, is small bait. So we are catching good sized fish on the smaller baits. Now, when I'm going to talk about baits tonight, I want you guys to do me a favor. Let's put it into categories. Because what I'm also going to tie, I don't have one handy, but what I'm going to tie on when I get to the water in the morning, as soon as I get there, what I'm going to tie on is a small 1/4 ounce spinnerbait with a little willow blade on it. To me, that spinnerbait and this swimbait are like the same thing. They very similar action in the water. A lot of the same fish are going to bite both. It's really about a personal preference and a personal confidence thing with you. So we're going to have bait categories tonight as we're talking about this. First one's going to be the little swimming bait. That's going to be a spinnerbait or a swim bait. Second one is going to be small, shallow diving crankbaits. This little thing right here, the curved square bill, the curved finesse square bill. This little dude right here is a dynamite bait to throw when you got small bait fish up shallow. This thing doesn't dive very deep. It's got a crazy wandering hunting action, gets a lot of strikes. It'll get a big fish to bite it even though it's a little bait. This is from 6 Cents Fishing. It's called the Curve Finesse Square Bill. Awesome little bait for this time of year. You need this bait this time of year. But we can go in that category, right? This is the axis, the pivoting deal. Another wild, erratic action. Hey, one thing I like to do, when I get so many bait fish up there, it becomes hard for those fish to single out my bait versus all those bait fish that are up there. And one thing that I do is I pick baits that have like crazy action. Like when I'm trying, like with these crankbaits, I want the crankbait that does this and wanders and hunts and darts the most. That Axis does a really good job of that. Another 6-inch crankbait. That Curve Finesse Square Bill does it. Another one that does it is a Movement ADX. I'm throwing all three of those crankbaits just trying to get a reaction in these big gobs and piles of bait that I'm finding. And then another bait that's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, a real finesse version, but a bait that's caught a million fish this time of year for me over the years is the little finesse quarter-ounce lipless crankbaits. These little things work really well. So that's kind of all one bait category, my shallow cranking category. Then we can go and let's talk about something fun, because with all this rain, some of these lakes are going to start getting full. Some of this vegetation is going to start getting flooded. Some of these bushes are going to start getting flooded. Bamses. Get you a pearl white Vega frog from 6 Cents Fishing and go have a ball. I don't know that this is going to be quite there this weekend yet, but I'm going to have it tied on. And if I start seeing surface activity, you can bet on it. I'm going to be throwing this a lot if I start seeing fish chase and blow up on the surface a little bit. I'm going to have a frog, and I'm going to have a catwalk ready to go right now. That's going to be my topwater category. And then we're going to go to the finesse category, because here's what you do, guys. My game plan basically is visually look for bait fish. Move a lot, run a lot, move around a lot, get on the trolling motor, move fast, find bait, find bait, find bait. Okay, then when I find bait, I'm going to be a little bit more thorough with these moving baits. And then once I get a bite or two, now I'm going to slow down. And I'm going to try to milk every bite I can, because right now, today, these fish are still super scattered out. They're not grouped up at all. So you have to, when you find a little area that's holding a couple fish, you have to milk every bite you can out of that area, because it's hard to find them. They're spread out, few and far between. So you got to get every bite you can. One way to do that is to go finesse on them. Of course, we're going to throw the wacky worm. I've got the wacky rigged 6 Cents Divine Shaky Head Worm. That's a 6.3 inch side. Watermelon candy. If it's sunny in the water, so typically I'm throwing watermelon candy. A lot of times with these dark conditions and some of the dirty water we're going to have going forward, I'm going to throw the Nirvana color. Nirvana is going to be my color of choice then. Then another bait that we're throwing, and this one is kind of beat up and monkeyed up. It got kind of tore up the other day too. But the 6 Cents Clout, I'm rigging it, Texas rig. I'm going to try to re-rig this one even though it's all chewed up like it is. So that's not rigged perfectly straight, because that bait's kind of been molested, what happened. But this is just a green pumpkin 6 Cents Clout stick bait. Again, on the darker days, I'm going to throw Nirvana. I'll tell you another color that I like throwing this time of year, especially when the sun's out, is Electric Shiner. It's got like a green color on top, a little bit of a white color on bottom. It's almost like a baby bass looking color. Really, really good color to throw on a stick bait when they're focused on shad. Get a little bit of that white mixed in there. As you're twitching that thing around, that white flashes at them to alert you out at it. Grab it. So that's kind of my 4 bait categories that I'm really going to focus on. I'm going to have my small weedless swimming baits, my spinner baits, my swim baits. I'm going to have my small cranking, small shallow cranking with my different variety of square bills and lipless and just good small profile shallow diving crankbaits. Then I'm going to have my topwater category with my frog and my catwalk, and then I'm going to have my finesse category with my Texas rig, weightless clout stick bait, and of course my wacky rig Divine Shaky Head Worm. Those are my baits. That is my strategy. Find the source of bait fish where it's gathered up, fish that area hard, find some bites, capitalize, milk every bite you can out of every area you're getting bit out of. That's my game plan. If it was me, that's how I'd be doing it over the next 2 days. So, or that's how I will be doing it the next 2 days. So hopefully that helped you guys. So. Zach Watt says, liar, you know good and well a chatterbait will be on your deck. Yeah, a chatterbait will be on my deck. But I don't, now once the fall bite gets going, I'll go back to throwing that chatterbait a lot. But I don't throw it nearly as much in the transition. I like to throw those smaller profile ones. I throw the small swim bait and the small little spinnerbait more than I throw a chatterbait during this kind of transition in time. Michael King, what's up? But yeah, the chatterbait's always going to be on the deck of my boat, for sure. Great time of year for the double fluke rig. The old donkey rig, that's, yeah, that donkey rig is a good thing to throw right now. Anything that imitates a shad. Fall, the top 5 baits, it's kind of like May. In May, top 5 baits becomes really difficult because there's so many different baits that can work. There's a lot of that in the fall, but the one thing about fall is all the baits, they all correlate to shad. They all look like shad. They all resemble shad. But there's a lot of different ones that may work on any given day over the other. You know what I mean? Like, could be a swim bait, could be a crankbait, could be a spinnerbait, could be a weightless plastic, but they all are some kind of way imitating a shad. Have you ever seen the turnover this early in the year? I want to say there was one year where I remember it turning over at the end of August. But I can tell you, I've never seen the water temps get, there was one day in August where the water was 80 degrees. I don't ever remember seeing that. I know that. Not saying it hasn't happened, but yeah. Ron Foreman. We're back, Ron. We appreciate you joining us, buddy. What small swim bait setup are we using? I'll show you that one more time. That's going to be the smallest size of the Divine swim bait, 3.3 inch. This is Clearwater Rose, white ice. All the white shad looking colors will work. But throwing that smallest Divine swim bait on a 3/0 owner flashy swimmer hook. I knew you was a fair weather fisherman. Yeah. Well, I guess. If I didn't fish in these floods we've had the last couple of days, I guess that makes me a fair weather fisherman. I guess I am. Yeah. No, I didn't have any customers that wanted to go out in that, so I decided to not go out in it myself. Problem is, it's really, now I've got to film tomorrow, and it's supposed to rain again tomorrow, and I only got 1 day left that I can use for filming, and that's tomorrow. So whatever you see next week, not only am I going to film on a day that it's raining, but it's been raining for 3 days straight, and there's all kinds of new fresh water. Like, I know we didn't catch anything last week. It sucked, and we had to do a little rerun on a throwback video. I don't know what, hey, we're not doing a rerun this week. Like, whatever happens is what y'all are going to see. We may go out and try to do some exploring and experimenting and find some new stuff, but I didn't fish yesterday. I didn't fish today, and I really didn't get to fish as much as I wanted to Tuesday because the wind got to blowing so far. We got so limited on where we could go and what we could do. It was getting it. The wind was going on Tuesday. So I really haven't got to fish much this week, and now I've got to go film with all these changing conditions. Whatever we pull out of the hat tomorrow is going to be about a half a miracle, I can tell you that. So. Can I show the frog again? Yeah, it's in a package, but yeah, this is the 6 Cents Vega frog. By the way, all these hard baits, these plastic Divine swim bait, Divine shaky hit worm, clout stick bait, all that stuff can be found at 6centsfishing.com. You guys go order some of that stuff. Punch in that code Your Lake Fort Guy. You'll get a 10% discount on anything you order over there. Does it ever get clear enough to throw a ball head jig with a swim bait on fork? Yeah, we throw swim baits on all applications. Jig heads. I don't really use the ball head jigs on swim baits anymore. I use more of the swim bait jig heads. But yeah, for sure, swim baits are a year-round player at fork. Swim baits of some size and shape and presentation are always a player at fork. These are kind of some of the, like this is a bigger one, but this is like a jig head swim bait setup that we throw on fork right there. If I want to explore, come on over to Lake of the Pines. You will smash them. Is Lake of the Pines high? Is it full? Are the bushes flooded? Because if they are, I might have to do that. I love going over there and flipping them flooded bushes on Lake of the Pines, man. That's a fun time right there. I think I've caught up to most of the questions, maybe. Maybe. Would you bring out that buzzbait tomorrow? If I was going to throw a buzzbait tomorrow, it would be a smaller buzzbait. That traditional fall buzzbait bite, I don't know that it's not happening yet, but typically for me, I wait till they kind of start showing me that they're really active and they're really starting to do that fall feed, and then that's when that buzzbait can be super effective in the fall. I may do some exploring tomorrow. I may go to a different lake tomorrow, man. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind. I guess I got to make that decision once I get done talking to you guys tonight, figure out where I'm going to go. But for sure, I know next week we're going to film on Fork because we got the Sealy Outdoors coming up. So I want to try to help you guys. They're going to fish that as much as possible. So we'll definitely have some content from Fork coming out the week of Sealy Outdoors. But I may go somewhere else tomorrow. We'll see. Pines was not full last week. Somebody said 229 last week. Yeah, we need to know what Pines is like right now because we've had all this rain. And Pines can sometimes, it can jump up in a hurry sometimes. That water level can change. Pines probably fluctuates water level wise as much as any lake we have in East Texas. Probably more than any other lake in East Texas. Man, you guys need to ask me some questions. I guess I did a good job tonight. I don't have a whole lot of questions to answer. It's okay, Lake of the Pines, 229.81 today. That's 1.3 high. We might have to go flip some bushes on Pines. That sounds awesome. If you guys haven't ever gone to Lake of the Pines and flip flooded bushes, like if they're in them and you go over there and flip flooded, like Lake of the Pines would be your favorite lake ever. I mean, is there anything better than going up to a bunch of flooded willow bushes, buckbrush, whatever, and just flip your cricket in there, flip your beaver bait, your 6-inch prawn, flip your jig in there, and just catch 40, just flipping. And every once in a while, one of them's going to be 5 to 8 pounds on Pines. Like, God dang, dude, that lake's so cool. Andrew Alphabet says he's ready to throw some big swim baits. We got a little bit of, there's some progress that needs to be made in the patterns before we get to that big swim bait bite. But it's coming. Andrew, I've noticed you like the big swim. You're always asking questions about swim baits, I think. I think I remember your name enough now. You got that unique last name. You're always asking about big swim baits. You're an old big bait chunker. And I like it. I'm not mad at you for it. Not at all. Pines is currently 0.84 high. Okay, so we got somewhere between 3/4 of a foot and 1.25 foot. So around a foot high on Pines. Yeah. Big John said, don't tell everybody. Dude, it is so much fun over there. Any general regions you expect to see bait fish early? Feeder creeks, northern arms? No, man. When the lake turns over, it kind of all happens all over the place. It's not like the spawn where they'll start spawning up, in Glade, and they won't be spawning down in Cheney. Like that's not how this deal works. When those bait fish go shallow this time of year, it kind of happens a little bit of everywhere at once. What depth am I in when I'm using the wacky one? But right now, this week, all the bait has been pushed up so shallow, I've been fishing like super shallow here lately. I am mixing in a little bit of mid-depth stuff, 10 foot, 12 foot, 8 foot stuff. But most of my fishing right now is being done kind of in the dirt a little bit. That's where the bait is. A lot of the bait's super shallow, so that's where we're fishing. Have you been catching any big fish lately? I guess it depends on your definition of big fish. Giant, no. Good fish that most people are like really happy to catch. Yeah, we've been catching a little bit of those, not a lot. No, it's been a tough bite. Like last week was just terrible. I got my teeth kicked in. I guess, yeah, no, we're really not catching big fish, not giants by any means, but you know we are catching some good fish, you know, some solid ones. So and I think everybody's got, you know, a lot of people have a little bit different definition of what big is. On Fork, our standards are a little bit high. Ben says he's been struggling to eliminate water. Well, you're a kayak guy, Ben, and you kayak guys, that's something y'all have to kind of be. Y'all got to do a little bit more pre-planning than everybody else. You're so limited on your range with that kayak. I mean, you guys can cover more water than I would ever want to in it, but you're still, you know, you can't just turn the motor on and run from, you know, Mustang and take off and go over to Little Caney. Like, you can't do that. And so you guys kind of have to really do a lot of pre-planning. I understand. Cody Mays says we've been slot cursed 4 or 5 weeks, 5 to 6 pounders left and right. Even caught a 9.5 pound slot. Yeah, so some of the fish on Lake Fork right now are stupid fat. Like, it's crazy to see how fat some of these fish are considering what time of year it is. Normally they're like skinny this time of year. A lot of them are. They are crazy fat right now. Some, not all. Some of them look like into summer fish, but man, I think it just never got as hot as it normally does, and a lot of these fish came through the summer in a lot better shape. Gunny Boone, retired gunnery sergeant from the Marine Corps that has a place out there for it, he sent me a picture the other day. He had some like 7 pound, I don't know what, 20-inch fish, something like 7 pounds. This thing looked like he had just stuffed softballs down its gut. It was crazy. He said send that fall weather down to Houston. Lake Houston is hovering at 93 to 94 degrees. That's crazy. Golly. That's like 4 hours from here, and it's just completely different. Going to make for some fatties this winter. Yeah, the fish are in like, yeah, after they feed in the fall, golly, the fish are going to be real fat on Fork this winter. There's going to be a lot of huge fish that weigh way heavier than they should. You're going to see a lot of little faced, big bellied fish on Fork this winter for sure. And my booked Thursday the 17th, forgetting the 17th of September. Yes, I am full that week. That whole week I'm full. That's the week of Sealy. Yeah, we fill up early for that week. But we can probably find somebody. Like if you're needing a guide to help you out for the tournament, yeah, holler at us at yourlakeforkguide.com and we'll get you a good guide for sure. Yeah, it's exciting, man. I'm telling you guys, this is always like, it's just weird because we don't normally get to think this way this early in the year. We normally got to wait, you know, several more weeks, kind of till after the Sealy is kind of when this normally happens. But it's fun to think about, you know, the potential possibility of having that good fall bite a month longer. Like if this cold front that comes in next week, which it may do, it may kick them into that full fall deal. If we can start the fall bite in early to mid-September and then have that extra month, because that's what it'd be. It'd be like an extra month of that bite. Oh, man. Get some consistent water temps in that go zone, right? Get them anywhere between 75 and 65 degree fall water temps and make that last a month longer and have that consistent, stable water where those fish can just get after it and feel good. Man, it ain't just Lake Fork. Like all these lakes around here are going to be going through that. Like Northeast Texas, it's going to be going down for the fall bite Northeast Texas if this plays out that way, which it's looking like it very well might. So it's a pretty exciting time to be a fisherman around here, no doubt. What pattern do you think is going to win the Sealy? Well, it's too early to tell because, man, things are changing so much in the water column right now. It's really too early to make that call. I mean, it's wide open right now. It could be anything from, you know, dirt shallow finesse fishing or spinnerbait fishing, or it could be dock fishing. It could be, you know, some of these fish can start setting up back offshore. It could be, you know, out offshore on a big crankbait or a big jig or, you know, some of those offshore techniques, flutter spoon. I mean, it could be anything right now because we don't know where all these changes are going to fall exactly. We know there's a lot of changes going on. We don't know exactly where it's going to fall 3 weeks from now. So I think for me, or 2.5 weeks, whatever it is, for me, it's a little too early to make that call. Somebody asked if Jonathan Bowling was back at Broken Bow, and the next guy said, "Yeah, he's a traitor." J-Bo, he's a traitor, homie. Yeah, no, John went back to Broken Bow. So the deal is, Broken Bow gets a tremendous amount of traffic, tourist traffic, and all that in August. And the fish bite up there in August, like they school like crazy. It's a good bite. So John went back up to Broken Bow, did some guiding for August and September, and then waterfowl season is getting cranked up here pretty soon. And J-Bo's going to try his hand at being a waterfowl guide this year. So we got all the faith in him. I know he loves to bass fish, and he's really, really good. He's one of the most talented guys for his age I've ever seen. But what he loves even more is waterfowl hunting. So he's really good at it, and he's gonna do some waterfowl guiding up there this year. And then when waterfowl season is over, he's planning on coming back to Fork, so he'll be back. But we wish him the best of luck. I know it's something he's passionate about. It's always good to see your buddies getting to kind of live their dreams and do what they love to do and be able to feed their family doing it. So super proud, super happy for J-Bo, man. Great guy. Great guy. Based on what you've seen, do you think there will be a monster caught during the Sealy? I mean, right now, yes. Like, unless we get some crazy heat wave that monkey stuff up after this, the week of or something, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it'd have enough time to have a negative. I'm going to say yes. I think somebody's going to catch a big old double-digit hammer. It's going to take a big, big, big fish to win the Sealy. It's going to take something over 10 for sure, probably something over 11, maybe even bigger than that. I would think, with how fat some of these fish are, and the conditions lining up to where more fish catches should happen per angler, the fish should bite a little better with the water cooling off. It could be a real big fish to win the Sealy. Cody Mays says probably have 100 overs caught if compared to Megabass. Freaking ridiculous. Megabass was insane. And man, I was shocked because it really hadn't been fishing all that good, okay, when Megabass came around, and then all of a sudden just everything lined up that week or something, and those guys they all grouped up. The offshore fish really grouped up for the first time of the year, and everybody just whacked them in the Megabass, and there was so many overs caught in one day. It's the first time we had Megabass in the summer like that because of the COVID deal and everything. They moved it from March out to July, and man, they freaking killed them. They caught a ton of overs in that thing. They sure did. All right, guys. Hey, man, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I want to thank all of you so much for joining us like you always do. We're back on schedule now. We're back in the full swing of things. The fall bite is coming around so early this year, and we're not there yet, but it's coming. Like, it's about to happen. It's on its way. I couldn't be more excited to see that show up early, man. I love that bite. I hope all you guys get a chance to get out on the water, enjoy some cool weather over the next week or so, between now and the next time we talk on next Thursday night. And y'all stay tuned for the content coming next week. We're going to do the best we can. We're going to have some really challenging conditions tomorrow with all the rain and all the weather and everything that's going on. But we're going to get out there and film tomorrow, and you guys will see that on Monday evening. And so y'all stay tuned and watch that, man. Thank y'all so much. And we'll see you next time right here on your Lake Fork Guide.